Fertilizers are being used more than ever. Yields are not increasing. Soil is weakening. Plants are growing poorly. This does not make sense, but it is happening. Most modern systems focus on nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium, but that is not the whole picture. Soil does not function in such a simple way. Crops do not either. The problem is not the amount of fertilizer. The problem is the minerals that have been removed. Just 7 elements, but they control how soil holds nutrients, how roots absorb them, how plants form yield. When these elements disappear, the entire system stops working. My name is William Tumapurimam. I am 70 years old this year. I have spent my entire life studying soil under natural conditions. Before continuing, please subscribe to the channel and leave a comment if you have any questions. This is not a fertilizer problem. This is a system problem. This system is called the mineral balance system, a system that has been broken, and these 7 minerals are the key to restoring it. In the past, soil maintained its fertility over long periods of time. No synthetic fertilizers were needed. No constant intervention was required. The system balanced itself through minerals and natural biology. Soil is not just material. Soil is a living system. Minerals form the foundation. Microorganisms activate transformation processes. Plant roots interact directly with the surrounding environment. Everything operates in sync. Now we will go into the 7 minerals that can increase crop yield by 4 times but have been hidden. 1 warrior to Magnesium. Magnesium is the center of photosynthesis. It sits at the core of the chlorophyll molecule, where light is converted into energy. When this element is insufficient, energy production declines from the very beginning. The plant cannot maintain its basic functions. In addition to its role in photosynthesis, this element also activates many important enzymes. These enzymes control metabolic processes inside the plant. When deficient, biological reactions slow down. Overall efficiency decreases significantly. This element also directly affects nutrient transport. It helps phosphorus and sugars move through the plant tissue system. When it is lacking, nutrients get stuck in one place. They are not distributed to the correct locations. The system begins to lose balance. Symptoms often appear on the leaves. The green color fades. Leaves turn pale yellow. But that is only the external sign. The real problem lies in the lack of energy production needed to sustain the entire system. When supplied at the right level, photosynthesis is restored. Energy is produced consistently. Enzymes function more efficiently. Nutrients are evenly distributed throughout the plant. This element always works together with calcium and potassium. The balance between them determines overall efficiency. When the right level is reached, the entire system begins to operate smoothly. This is the starting point of recovery. 2D. Sulfur. Sulfur plays an important role in protein and enzyme synthesis. It is the element that helps plants use nitrogen efficiently. When this element is insufficient, nitrogen still exists in the soil but is not converted. The plant cannot use that nutrient source. This element directly participates in the formation of amino acids. These are the foundation of proteins. The process of building cell structure is disrupted. The plant grows slowly. Tissue becomes weak. Recovery ability declines significantly. In addition, this element also affects enzyme activity. These enzymes control many important reactions inside the plant. When insufficient, the entire biological system operates inefficiently. Metabolic processes slow down. Symptoms often appear as pale leaf color. The plant looks weak and lacks vitality. But the cause is not a lack of nitrogen. The cause is that nitrogen is not being properly activated. When adequately supplied, nitrogen begins to be used efficiently. Protein synthesis proceeds normally. The plant grows more steadily. Color returns clearly. This element also helps increase the absorption of other minerals. It helps unlock elements that are trapped in the soil. When balance is achieved, the system begins to function smoothly. This is the connecting element between nutrients and nutrient utilization. 3 zinc. Zinc controls growth hormones inside the plant. It is the element that directly affects cell division. When this element is insufficient, growth rate declines significantly. The plant cannot expand in size normally. This element participates in regulating auxin. This is the hormone that determines height and overall structure. When deficient, the plant becomes short and unbalanced. Uneven development between plant parts begins to appear. In addition, This element also supports the activity of many important enzymes. These enzymes are involved in protein synthesis and energy metabolism. When insufficient, biological efficiency decreases, internal reactions become slow and less effective. Common signs include small, distorted leaves and shortened internode spacing. But the issue is not just appearance. It lies in the fact that the growth system has been disrupted from within. When sufficiently supplied, cell division proceeds normally. Growth hormones are balanced. The plant develops evenly and more steadily. Structure becomes stronger. This element works together with nitrogen and phosphorus. This interaction determines overall growth speed. When balance is achieved, the entire growth system is reactivated. 4. Boron. Boron controls plant reproduction. It is the element that directly affects flower and fruit formation. When this element is insufficient, pollination and fruit development are disrupted, yield drops sharply. This element participates in sugar transport inside the plant. Sugar is the energy source needed for flower and fruit development. When deficient, energy is not delivered to the right places. Reproductive parts do not fully develop. In addition, this element also supports cell wall structure. It helps maintain stability and connection between plant tissues. When insufficient, tissue becomes weak, easily damaged. Growth capacity is limited. Symptoms often appear in flowers and fruits. Flowers drop easily. Fruits develop unevenly. Surfaces may crack or deform, but the cause is not external conditions. It lies in the internal system not being properly supported. When sufficiently supplied, reproduction proceeds steadily. Flowers develop completely. Fruits form evenly and firmly. Energy is efficiently distributed to critical parts. This element works together with calcium and other trace minerals. This interaction helps maintain structure and reproductive function. When balance is achieved, the system begins to produce stable and sustainable yields. 5. Iron. Iron directly participates in the formation of chlorophyll. It is an essential element for maintaining green color and photosynthetic activity. When this element is insufficient, energy production is disrupted. The plant cannot maintain stable performance. This element plays an important role in electron transport. This is a fundamental process in energy production. When deficient, the flow of energy inside the cells is interrupted. Biological reactions do not occur efficiently. Iron does not function independently. It depends on soil conditions and support from other minerals. When the environment is not suitable, this element may exist but is not absorbed. This creates a deficiency even when supply is present. Common signs are leaves losing their green color, turning pale yellow, but the veins remain darker. This is a sign that the photosynthesis system is not functioning properly. When properly supplied and absorbed, chlorophyll formation is restored. The green color returns clearly. Photosynthesis becomes stable. Energy is produced continuously. This element interacts with sulfur and other trace minerals. This balance helps maintain nutrient absorption and utilization. When the right condition is achieved, the entire energy system is reactivated. 6. Calcium. Calcium is the foundation of plant cell structure. It determines the strength and stability of the entire tissue system. When this element is insufficient, structure begins to weaken from within. This element participates in forming the cell wall. This is the protective layer and also the framework that maintains the shape of each cell. When deficient, cells become soft and easily damaged. Structural integrity decreases significantly. In addition, this element also controls root division and development. Roots are where water and nutrients are absorbed. When insufficient, the root system develops poorly, absorption capacity decreases, the entire plant is affected. This element also plays a role in internal signal transport within the plant. It helps coordinate biological responses between different parts. Heron. When deficient, connections are disrupted. Processes are no longer synchronized. Symptoms often appear in roots and young tissues. Roots are weak. Growth tips are affected. Structure becomes unstable. But the cause is not external conditions. It lies in the system lacking the foundation to sustain itself. When adequately supplied, cell structure becomes strong, roots develop steadily, absorption capacity improves, internal processes become more synchronized. This element works together with boron and other minerals. The balance between them helps maintain structure and function. When the proper level is achieved, the entire system becomes stable and sustainable. 7. Silica. Silica helps strengthen plant tissue. It reinforces cell structure and creates a natural protective layer. When this element is insufficient, the plant becomes weak and vulnerable to environmental impacts. This element does not directly participate in photosynthesis or energy production, but it affects how the plant responds to stress. It helps reduce the impact of temperature, to the drought, and biological pressure. When deficient, adaptability declines significantly. In addition, this element also increases the rigidity of stems and leaves. Structure becomes stronger. This helps the plant maintain its shape and resist mechanical stress. When insufficient, tissues are soft and easily damaged. This element also plays a role in limiting the invasion of harmful agents. It creates a physical protective barrier, helps reduce the risk of attack. When deficient, plants are more vulnerable to pests and external factors. Symptoms are not always immediately obvious, but the system becomes weaker over time. Resistance declines, recovery speed slows. When adequately supplied, structure becomes solid, resistance increases. The plant maintains stability even under unfavorable conditions. This element acts as an additional protective layer for the entire system. When the proper level is achieved, the plant not only grows but also maintains long-term stability. Modern systems focus on 3 elements: nitrogen, 1, phosphorus, potassium. These are the foundation of most fertilizers. But crops do not need only 3 elements. In reality, they need more than 17 elements to function fully. When focusing only on 3 elements, the system becomes unbalanced. Some processes are accelerated, but many other processes are ignored. This creates internal disruption. Plants grow unstably. Minerals do not work independently. They depend on each other. One element may exist, but if the linking element is missing, it cannot be used. This causes nutrients to become locked in the soil. Absorption does not depend only on availability. It depends on activation. Enzymes require sufficient minerals to function. Microorganisms require a balanced environment to support. When one part is missing, the entire system declines. This is not a list of minerals. This is a mineral balance system. Each element is a link. When one link is weak, the entire chain is affected. When balance is established, the system begins to operate smoothly. Nutrients are unlocked. Exchange processes become efficient. Plants do not just receive nutrients. Plants are able to use nutrients. This is the difference, not adding more, but activating correctly. When the system is restored, efficiency increases without increasing inputs. This is the point most modern systems overlook, and also the reason why results do not match the cost. When the mineral system becomes unbalanced, the consequences do not appear immediately. It happens silently. Yield gradually declines. Plants grow slowly. Resistance weakens. Nutrients still exist in the soil, but they are not used. Elements become locked. Roots cannot absorb properly. Exchange processes are disrupted. When this happens, the common reaction is to increase fertilizer, but this only creates more imbalance. Some elements increase, but others remain deficient. The system continues to decline. Dependence begins to form. Soil can no longer sustain itself. Every cycle requires more input, but efficiency does not increase accordingly. Costs rise. Results are unstable. The problem is not the amount of resources. The problem is the ability to use resources. When the system does not function, adding more does not solve the root cause. In recent years, a different approach has begun to emerge. Focus on mineral balance. Restore the natural function of the soil. Instead of constant input, the system is adjusted to operate on its own. When elements are brought back into balance, the change becomes clear. Nutrients begin to unlock. Absorption becomes more efficient. Plants develop steadily. Yield does not just increase, it becomes consistent. The system is no longer fully dependent on external inputs. Soil begins to recover over time. The difference is not doing more, it is fixing the core issue. When the system is restored, results change without increasing pressure on the soil. Start by testing the soil. Identify the current condition. No guessing, no random application. When the foundation is understood, adjustments become precise. Focus on missing minerals. Prioritize foundational elements. Bring the system back to balance. No need to add too much, only what is correct. Reduce dependence on constant inputs. Allow the soil to restore its natural function. When the system operates correctly, the need for additions decreases. Efficiency increases over time. This is not a short-term approach. This is a process of rebuilding the foundation. When the foundation is strong, the entire system becomes stable. Farming is not just about supplying nutrients. It is about understanding how the natural system works. When understood correctly, everything becomes simpler. Subscribe to the channel to continue discovering overlooked knowledge. Leave a comment if you have any questions. This video uses AI-assisted tools to help present visual information more clearly and understandably for viewers.